So today is our second day of solving quadratic equations. Our first example is going to be a little bit of a refresher, and then our next three examples are going to be something new and different. So here's our first example. This is exactly like what we've been doing. I see that that mess is squared. That whole left side of my equal sign is squared. So I need to square root both sides. Make sure you draw that in if you haven't already. I'm square rooting both sides. When I square root what's on the left side, the exponent just disappears. Remember, they're opposite operations. And it equals the square root of 81. Don't forget, it's plus or minus. And the square root of 81 is 9. So now I want to start actually getting x by itself. I'm going to add 1 to this side. You're going to add 1 to this side. So on the left side of my equal sign, all I have is 2x. And on the right side, remember how we write this? You write the 1 first, and then the plus or minus 9. So there's one more step. X is not by itself yet, so we need to divide both sides by 2. Now x is by itself. And I have this whole big addition-subtraction problem over here. 1 plus or minus 9 all over 2. And so I'm actually going to do that so I can figure out what x is. 1 plus 9 is 10 divided by 2, and 10 divided by 2 gives me 5. And then I have 1 minus 9, which is negative 8, divided by 2. And negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. So that's what we worked on a little bit of Thursday, finished Friday. And so now we're going to take it a step further. So usually we square root everything first. That's what we've always done first. But now I'm looking, and this equation right here, the square root's not by itself. I can't square root both sides yet until that squared, this thing that's squared, this guy right here, is by itself on one side of the equal sign. And if I was to draw a line down my equal sign, I see it's not by itself. It's got that pesky minus 1. So I can't square root anything first. I need to get the thing that has the squared by itself. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides first. That's what I want to do first. Now I have 2x squared is equal to 15 plus 1 is 16. Now the thing that's squared is actually by itself. So how we could square root, the very first step right here, because the thing that's squared is by itself, I can actually square root now. I can square root both sides. So the left side of my equal sign just has 2x by itself. And the right side, the square root of 16, don't forget plus or minus, and the square root of 16 is 4. X is not quite by itself. We need to divide both sides by 2. And so x is equal to plus or minus 4 divided by 2, which is just a fancy way of saying positive 4 divided by 2 is 2. And negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. So that's how we solve those first two problems. If you need to, just stop the video and pause it. Make sure your steps look like my steps. You're going to want to have to show your work exactly like mine in order to do the next thing after the notes. Okay, here are our next two examples. I'm going to make my pen a little bit thicker. Here we go. So again, I want to square root both sides, but I can't until this thing right here is by itself. In order to get the thing that's squared by itself, in this first example, I need to divide both sides by 2 first. I need to get the thing that's squared by itself. So now I have x plus 1, the whole thing is squared. And it's equal to 32 divided by 2 is 16. Now I can square root both sides. So I have x plus 1 by itself, and the square root of 16 plus or minus 4. I need to continue getting x by itself, so I'm going to subtract 1. And I'm left with x is equal to negative 1 plus or minus 4. So again, fancy addition subtraction problem. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. And those are your two answers. Remember, there's going to be two answers to all of these. Here's the last one I'm going to do with you. I need to get the x squared by itself. The thing that's squared is not by itself. I need to get rid of the 2. I need to get rid of the 1. I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides first. So I'm left with 2x squared is equal to 99 minus 1 is 98. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So I'm left with x squared is equal to 98 divided by 2 is 49. The thing that's squared is by itself, so now you can square root both sides. X is equal to the square root of 49 plus or minus 7. So that means that the answer is a positive 7 and a negative 7. Again, if we need to pause to make sure your notes look exactly like mine, so you can do the next thing, I would do that. This is what you're going to do next. You're going to try these 4 problems on your own. But your notes have to look exactly like mine did, all filled out, all the steps shown. If they don't, we'll have to go back so you can copy them down correctly. You may use your notes to do this activity, but I want you to remember, just a super quick little reminder, if I have x squared is equal to a negative 16, and I square root both sides, remember you can't square root a negative number, so the answer is no solution. Hint, 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 hint. Good luck. Once this is perfect, then you can do your homework. I will see you Wednesday.